The special thing about organic farming is that you don't use chemicals, you don't use poison, and you take care of the soil, and the soil takes care of the plants. It has 7 spots. Biodiversity is very important in organic farming, especially the soil. And for that you use trees, flower strips, water ponds to have a healthy environment for all the species. This year our main crop is strawberries. We grow it on 2 hectares. And we grow also alfalfa, peas that we use for cover crop for the soil fertility. Also we grow wheat. So this is our crops for this year.
Around the village of Vâlcele, in Romania's South Muntenia region, farmers like Tudor are showing that agriculture and biodiversity can go hand in hand. But protecting biodiversity also means investing in it. And for many farmers, those costs still have to be carried alone.
Environmentally friendly doesn't come cheap. For example, for the flower strips, you need people to maintain the flowers, and also for the weeds pressure, and we need manpower. Manpower is really expensive. Because we don't use chemicals, the yields are lower. So you need to pay more, of course, because they are lower yields and more expensive to produce. So that's why you pay more for organic products.
For farmers, biodiversity is part of everyday life. For researchers, it raises a different question. How can these efforts be recognized and rewarded? To answer that question, researchers from the EU-funded project BioCapital are working directly with farmers across Romania to understand what kinds of financial support could make biodiversity-friendly farming economically viable. Steliana Rodino, from the Romanian Research Institute for Agricultural Economy and Rural Development, works closely with farmers across the region to identify financial mechanisms that work under real farming conditions.
Our main objective is to support the transition to a sustainable agroecology in Romania. One of the main challenges in this is the gap existing from the environmental needs of the country and the finances that are existing on this moment. So, as a first step, an insight on the biodiversity mechanism that can be put in place. This could be like biodiversity credits or payment for ecosystem services or financial bonds that may be put in place. Second, we are expecting to identify and develop the exact mechanism that can be appropriate to be transferred into practice in a long term and to be adapted to the local conditions.
While researchers are developing new financial models, some farmers have already invested in biodiversity without waiting for new incentives. One of them is Ionel, who began investing years before these ideas entered the policy debate. Long before biodiversity credits or other financial mechanisms were being discussed, he decided to invest in biodiversity himself and accepted the financial risks as he believed the long-term benefits would outweigh the costs.
We established these shelter belts with our own money. There was no European or national funding available, so we decided to make the investment ourselves. Today, we can already see the benefits. We hope that, in the future, other farmers will also have access to the financial support they need. We need both European and national decision-makers to create better funding opportunities and adapt legislation to support investments like these. Farmers, funding organizations, and research institutes need to work together to develop long-term financing mechanisms that encourage agroforestry and other biodiversity measures. As I said, we're already seeing the benefits of these investments. That's why we've taken the next step. Beyond shelter belts, we are now establishing small forest patches across our farm.
For farmers like Ionel, investing in biodiversity meant accepting financial risks without knowing whether those efforts would ever be recognized or rewarded. Today, however, the conversation is beginning to change. Across Europe, biodiversity loss is increasingly understood not only as an environmental challenge, but also as a financial risk that affects businesses, supply chains, investors, and society as a whole. For Isabel Royce, from the Italian Sustainable Investment Forum, this shift is also changing the way investors and decision makers think about nature.
The biodiversity risk can be a financial risk. It can also be a physical risk to something, but it is a risk assessment that needs to be done to ascertain it. And up to now, people had never really put a value to it, but it is a risk if you don't conserve it, if you don't take care of it. It's going to be a risk for you. Good to have, but not a must-have. Now they're realizing it's a must-have because it mitigates the risk.
Once biodiversity becomes part of financial decision-making, protecting nature is no longer simply about avoiding damage. It also becomes about creating value, and a new question emerges. How can these insights be translated into practical incentives that work for farmers? For Steliana Rodino, the answer lies in developing financial mechanisms that reflect the value of biodiversity on the ground.
The most suitable at this moment is considered by the stakeholders that we have consulted, the biodiversity credit. It could work if farmers already implementing the solutions for biodiversity conservation could get tax reduction, for example, for the practices they are implementing. I think that this could work as well for the farmers who are not yet in this story. So it will encourage the farmers to adopt some practices that are not still into place.
The challenge now is to ensure that these efforts are recognized, rewarded, and replicated.
We receive subsidies special for organic agriculture, but only for organic agriculture, and also we receive some funding because we use cover crops. But other biodiversity practices still are not paid from subsidies. We need a bigger price and also bigger subsidies, more subsidies. Yeah, maybe we can use like a different label that will explain to the consumers exactly what does this product means. Maybe our practices are more visible. We have lots of pressure each year for our crops because we try to keep organic, and organic is not easy. Organic is very difficult.